rounds. That's an issue, right? So if you're Deontay Wilder, you got to put yourself in his shoes. I'm not talking about the water. I'm not talking about the water. I'm not talking about the water.
Water on the boxing voice, but now that
No. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. No, I did not. No, I did not. No, I did not. No, I did not.
I just want to say one more thing, man. How big this fight is for boxing, bro. You know, Top Rank is winning at the end of the day. This is on ESPN. Everybody can watch this. Everybody will be tuned in. This is great for boxing, bro.
What part of hold up. What part of AG has a right hand? He has a hook. He has a jab. He has an uppercut. The deadliest uppercut in all of boxing, by the way.
Every fighter has
down. I'll put it up against anybody's uppercut, even if. Yeah. And he manhandled him in there.
Yeah.
And so that tells me that he'll be able to hold his own. And Spence, I don't think he's going to be able to deal with Crawford repositioning him. And like Beep says, he has that strong wrestling background.
You start thinking about history and how Bob Arum didn't really have very many big stars stay with him. Right now, Crawford is with him, but everybody else is left. And I think we're starting to see why. And, Arum is starting to speak his mind more and more. And
a guy who lost his title on the scales, all right, in Benavidez. All right. He only had this shot because Benavidez lost his title on the scales, and he took a step back.
Local sports, talk to us, man. Who's the most overlooked lightweight in your opinion?
The guy that can beat Fortuna hands down very easily, Nestor Bravo at 135. That guy right there is the truth right there. I know for a fact that a lot of people don't even know who he is. But this guy has all the tools in the...
For Canelo unifies and becomes undisputed against will be the biggest event of 2021.
Bigger than the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world?
No. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I don't think they're going to fight, bro. I don't think the fight's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see Josh over Fury.
Oh, you're being a dead
decision.
Pernell Whitaker was known not to be a puncher, but when he saw that the fight was slipping away when he was going to face Oscar De La Hoya, what did he do? He stepped it up.
Whitaker got criticized all the time for running. Okay, he got criticized all the time for not being.
So I was surprised that he got it. But one thing with him is I hope he doesn't let these knockouts get to his head, because these guys are... His power is real. That's the one thing we know about him. His power is obviously real.
To those joining me live, and to those that have been joining me and the rest of the panel and archive,
100% chance Lomachenko is going to beat Teofimo Lopez. I'm not convinced by Teofimo Lopez. The knockout.
100%, he said.
Mr. 100, baby. Mr. 100.
I am as sure as the sun rising in the east and all this other stuff. Let me tell you something. 100%.
Like, and it's official. Sean Porter has crossed that street, I'm excited, man, because this is something that we needed, man. I hope that this is like a shot of adrenaline in the arm of boxing to keep this momentum rolling. That's why they put him on the card, eh?
Your son's been good in 10 years.
Your son's a warrior, eh? He's gonna go in there and he's gonna beat that maricon Victor Ortiz up, eh? He's gonna beat him down.
I don't know that I'm annoyed, but I think it is a little too much. Like, se cansa uno,
Okay. And what are your thoughts on everything he said? I mean, he said in 2 years he's ready for Canelo. You know what I mean?
You know what? It's because I just got so frustrated with that. That's why I'm like, I get a little me fastidio.
From the beginning of the fight, well, all of a sudden, is Teofimo's jab just going to go away? He's going to say, come on in. I'm not going to throw the jab out there. Like Lomachenko woke up that morning and said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take the first 7 rounds off. I'm not going to throw punches. That's my strategy. Well, Kenny Rideout over there, his buddy, and he's screaming at the fucking top of his lungs. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
You're a 60-something-year-old man, and you're acting like you're freaking 12.
I like it when, like, in his podcast, he has these moments where he just lashes out, like, you know, it's like,
It'll be like this.
You know, it was a really good fight, and then he threw the jab, and then, you know, after he threw the jab,
Teddy,
like, God
Teddy,
damn, bro, like, what the hell, yo,
Teddy,
but
what did you have for breakfast this morning, Teddy? Well, I had some cereal, some bacon, and some eggs. Like, it's just like
Saul about what these fights really are. You know, he's basically alluding and telling you that they're staged events. And in fact, Paulie Malignaggi is making his return to the ring on that same card, fighting a radio personality. Corey,
Legitimate dude, man.
you got a future?
O'Hara would fuck up most of these dudes right now. 168 plus.
G-fuck.
What I'm letting you know is that I actually have real footage of him fucking people up. Look at this. O'Hara was a real bad motherfucker, and look at his timing here. Look at you. Oh!
Come on. Tyson. I blamed Richard Steele. I said, the count was BS. I blame the fact that I blame the fact that they had it in Tokyo. If it was in America, he would have won. I blame everything with Tyson. It hurt me to my heart to see Mike Tyson go, but it is what it is.
I think he quit. I think he was right to do so. Switch and train. I don't know how he was up on the scorecards. I had Joyce up, as painful as Joyce is to watch. I had him up on the score.
And like 2-3 nights before the fight, he's eating tacos with a Saudi friends. Okay, like that's not right.
He's having a rematch with the buffet.
Which he's always lost. Okay, but you know, maybe he'll be heavyweight champion at food eating. He'll be a 2-sport champ. Okay,
you're being so hard on the guy.
Well, you gotta be hard on him. I want to motivate him. Okay, maybe it'll work.
Do you know what my highest fight purse was?
Yours?
Yeah.
I want to say $3 million.
I never made $1 million in my whole career. Now, Christine, hold on. Christine.
300,000?
Hold on, Christine. I'm finna say something to you. Now, woman you talking about can beat me right now. Now, woman you talking about.
I sure hope not, Nate.
I mean 48-year-old fat, out of shape.
Right, so that's why he won every round. He fought a dangerous guy.
Well, I know that, but he could have stopped this kid. You know, that's what I'm saying. He could have put a little bit more pressure. Even with Hoyt. Hoyt didn't really do much. I mean, he went out there and he just kind of
that day.
Absolutely.
So, you know, these guys, I mean, they overdo it with this stuff, and I'm not a big fan of the sparring footage. I mean, if one of the most famous leaked sparring footage is out there, it didn't teach us anything, then I don't know what will, and that's the footage between Floyd Mayweather and Paul Spadafora. I mean, that was a huge thing back in the day.
Never forget that day. Beeb calls me up, and he was like, "Oh no, it's a mind game. There's no way."
Yeah, there's some burritos too.
He weighed in with his clothes on and everything like. I said because he's heavy. He doesn't want to take his clothes off when he weighs in. He doesn't look good.
Yeah, about 1 person of the camp. I got pretty frustrated. First of all, because I really don't care about the trilogy, and I agree with you. He had beat him twice. And what makes sense to do the third one? Because it was in the contract? Okay, I get it. But why do we have to go through the whole battle through a couple of years of like Wilder or AJ? Wilder, no AJ. Now AJ, no, now AJ, no, now Wilder. Then we signed, 2-3 deal fights with...
In the camp, Dad, he was shaking his head saying, nah, I wanted to continue. Do you believe him or not?
No.
Man, nobody believes Joe.
That's just an opinion, but I don't know what happened in that corner. But I just don't think he was vehemently shaking his head or protesting like, "Don't stop this fight." We've seen that from fighters. Don't stop this fight.
He's the best and he's focused. So what happened?
No. I know Nenny's a great fighter, but he lacks discipline. I told you. Actually, he was down here in Monterrey 2 weeks ago. I asked him, "What the fuck are you doing here if you are to fight?" And he told me, "Well, just relaxing after the war."
This pandemic, I think about, mentally, it could be mental warfare with Joshua. I could definitely get that.
And I can point throughout the career. Again, I know things that people don't know. but that's just me. People either gonna hear it or they're not. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck if he's fighting people who are not quality boxers.
36, almost 48 hours to rehydrate. So they do it. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair for boxing history. I don't think it's. I understand the safety issues, but if you fought at the weight you're supposed to fight in, if you're in the weight class you're supposed to be at, and if you train and be a professional like you're supposed to be, there's no more danger in weighing in the same day. The danger is when you don't do those things and you dehydrate yourself and you don't have time to do it. That's where the danger happens.
Sensational upset over Amir Imam, who people thought was going to be the next big thing. Amir Imam, he pulls off the upset. Well, he reminds me of Josecito Lopez that stunned the world by breaking the jaw of Victor Ortiz. That's the kind of fighter that Mario Barrios.
Okay, I'll go next.
That was like a great transition into what I was going to say, because Warrington, I think, is going to come back with a lot of vengeance, and I think that that shock was a huge loss for his fans back at home, and I think that at the same time, the first fight that he had, for him to win wasn't going to be the biggest deal. But at this point now, for him to win, it's going to matter, because it's either he wins and then he could possibly have that rematch against Kid Galahad, or if he loses, it's looking like that rematch is not going to happen and it might be the end of his career. So he has a lot on the line this time around.
5. Captain Orange America is back. Yes, I'm going to be entertained. I can't wait. I think he's making boxing great again. Just take me back to the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, Atlantic City, baby. Let's go, chump. I'm here.
This weekend, because, the money was all on Manny. His fans put their money where their mouth is, and they do travel. They were in force in Las Vegas, and it
is pertinent to individuals that care about it in the boxing universe, in the sports universe. I keep it. If I feel like someone shoots themselves in their foot, what do? I shut it down.
Is that what it is? Like, I'm going to give interviews to the people that had my back. In other words, people that bought Glovegate, the people that don't want to question me about Glovegate, the people that believe I clearly won the first fight. That's what you want. Well, that's bullshit.
The sport, and how he could put on a show, but do it with actual fighters, right? Like something to benefit the sport that gave him so much. And he's over here pulling this bullshit. Like, that's upsetting, right? It's upsetting and it's disrespectful. And
it's a sport that gave him everything.
And he's bringing that in here. He's the one.
He's this fight. We need an undisputed heavyweight champion. We haven't had one since Lennox Lewis. Now, Tyson Fury, undefeated, 2-time Ring Magazine heavyweight champion. The only heavyweight to have every belt in the division. Tyson Fury, coming off his biggest victory against Deontay Wilder when he dominated Deontay Wilder. Destroyed him, took his heart, took his soul.
Really big things in boxing. End of the day, our sport is one of these things, that you grow and build. You know what I mean? If people say boxers dying, boxers don't die. All we do, we evolve. You know what I mean? When you got over 300 years of boxing, you know what I mean? And everyone said he was dead back then. People can say that means you're not a fan. Boxing's always gonna. I think.
Slow Joe stops Alexander Usyk. Not only do I think Slow Joe gonna beat Usyk, I think he's gonna put him away like in the 11th round.
So I think with Adrian Broner, probably I found this type of, trying to understand the guy. Like, these fighters ain't perfect. I can't they get hit in the head too much, man. I don't know. So I ask y'all, what's the leeway y'all give to these guys? Like,
I give a lot of leeway.
It's gonna happen. So and so is gonna fight so and so, and then the guy ends up fighting somebody else. And this whole thing about sources say, if you're gonna use an anonymous source can be anybody. It can be the guy sweeping up the friggin' gym.
This is what I want to say, Dragon Style. This is what I want to say. So you asked me, how come women aren't supporting women? I'm a woman, but women are funny creatures, by nature. We, in every facet of boxing, and
having exposure to it, and what I found is I should have got into it earlier because I watched Estrada a couple weeks ago look very skilled, extremely skilled. And I wasn't expecting that. You know, I got to be quite honest.
Because a puncher's chance in the heavyweight division, that's a real motherfucking thing. You better believe it, right?
Yeah.
But just being logical, like, usually the technician wins the second or the third fight in better fashion than the first. That's usually
decisions as we speak. And I also agree with D. I think that the zone is not doing enough. Why are they not doing enough? Well, maybe because the boxer is not helping also. Remember, sometimes the company wants to help, but you got to show something. You know, I can't just invest, and you just collect without putting forth the effort that we're looking for. Dark horse, in my opinion, that will give a challenge to the top guys. And look, I'm not going to include Canelo. I know people have the freedom to include Canelo at the 160, but to me, Canelo is never coming back down to 160.
Maestro.
For the world, the Queensbury Promotions Championship in the world, because that's the UFC
That's what we have
model.
now. That's what we have
the
now.
UFC model.
You have the WBC, the WBE. We have that now, and we have people in different promotions now. Top Rank. You're not going to see anybody from Top Rank fight anybody from the PBC. Anybody good. We're trying to make that match now with Crawford and Spence. That fight's not happening.
Well, look, we're struggling with the Fury Joshua fight too, but
right.
Andy Ruiz versus
Damn, you want this guy to take his robe off. You want this guy to take his robe off and look like ravishing Rick Rude in the abdominal area. It's not gonna happen.
No. They just went at it. And back and forth, and nothing happened. Yet, you know, if Teofimo said something about one guy, you know, I was like, oh, you're a fucking pussy if you don't fight this guy, you know, but these guys can just rah to each other, and another guy rah the whole time, and nobody demands that.
Good boxer, excellent boxer. Has not changed much from his amateur days. He has made just minor adjustment. And in the amateurs, I saw him getting outboxed by the simple 1-2 of Erislandy Savon.
Hey, yo, just what? Look at these dudes like hyping and pumping each other up. But go ahead.
Listen up, D-Cell.
And I can't wait till Tyson Fury, once again, just like a serpent licks the blood of AJ's shoulder.
pull that hat up so you can lift it off your ear so you can hear this. You can hear this knowledge. So you can hear the knowledge.
He masterclass boxing performance. What were you watching? The guy landed 26 power shots? I mean, come on. I mean, and we've got a clear shot of him multiple times running. I mean, this is not his best performance. He didn't win the fight.
There's Crawford, you know, who's been ducking people. You hear fighters been ducking people for years. Canelo ducked Charlo, whatever the case may be. And this fight didn't go down because this person was ducking. He was afraid and all that stuff there. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna test the audience. So I said, you know what? Errol Spence had a torn retina at first. That was the report. Now Mike Carpenter is saying that, and I've showed it today. Now they're saying it was worse than what they thought. It was.
When you fight a puncher, you know, you kind of spin it and click. You know, maybe the bullet comes out, maybe it doesn't. When a puncher hits you, he knocks you out, right? Now Fury is such a good fighter and such a bad stylistic matchup for Wilder that it's more than 6 chambers, right? Maybe it's 30 of them. You know, and in the first fight, throughout a 12-round course, he caught him twice and dropped him twice. And maybe, you know, there won't be the bullet in that chamber again.
When are you going to step in the ring with another number one? Let's get an undisputed champion. The pressure is on Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury been in there with the best. He beat the best. I'm waiting for Anthony Joshua to step in the ring with a number one heavyweight.
Something, and automatically, regardless of how credible that person is, they run with the story. So and so's making this. I heard that. Rumors. Sources say. Then when you hear that Eddie Hearn being interviewed, or you hear Bob Arum being interviewed, they're not going to confirm any of these figures that.
I didn't even know this fight was being made.
You know what? It's about time we make the Saudis suffer. Okay? You know what? Sit down and watch that Frampton fight. Okay, with Herring. Sit down and watch that fight.
I think he's gonna do really big things in boxing. It just, end of the day, our sport is one of these things, that you grow and build. You know what I mean? People say boxers dying. Nah, boxers don't.
Heavyweight of all time, Tyson.
Bro, the only person in the history of boxing that I see being giving him a really tough test, there's actually two. Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko.
Fighters to associate themselves with Golden Boy because of Oscar's, habits, let's just say, and recreational activities that are very public, right? That's not gonna, regardless of who runs it and who's the CEO, some fighters just want nothing to do with that, right? Isn't that like a fair thing to say?
Well, look, what he did, not what he did. What the guys that got involved with Oscar, what they did was brilliant. They brought Barrera, Bernard Hopkins, Shane Mosley, guys that were involved in the sport.
I don't want to be the negative Nancy or whatever. I don't want to be the dude that just tells everybody that Santa isn't real. We're never gonna fix scoring in boxing ever, because it's a subjective sport. Okay, and have sparring matches. Oh, we're gonna have fun. No more.
Did he really need the money? Did he really need the money?
I'm done with old dudes trying to fight. I'm done with 55-year-olds thinking they still got it. I'm just done with it. I'm done. Sit your ass down and stay away from the ring.
Guys, let's hear from G-Funk. I want to hear from G-Funk.
He talks to
Sit your ass down, Holyfield.
You have a heart. Gee, you have a heart. You're not as cold.
You wish for. I've been telling people, we're doing you a favor by saying no rematch. We're doing you a favor. Okay, you insist. Be careful what you wish for. You just might. Exciting as fuck to watch. That's how Mexicans support our fighters. That's all. It's support. Support is different. Don't include. I'm just saying. Stop using us as an example if you don't want us to give our take. You don't want to hear my opinion on it? Then stop calling me an expert on keeping the code.
Right.
Definitely appreciate you. Have a good one, Gil.
Thank you, sir.
Talking about, what are we saying here?
Like a confident guy.
We're gonna proceed, of course, but
hold on, I got the picture, bro. Just I'm gonna share it right now. I'm gonna show you that. No, this is what I'm saying. People say a lot of things and it sounds good, but we don't. Again, we're finding different information.
So
I'm gonna show you. Wait. Let me finish.
Billy Joe.
Bro, let me finish. All right, I let you talk. Let me talk. All right, I'm gonna show you. The man has fought in a small ring. So these people always say, "Oh, he always fought 20 by 20." That's not true.
Slandered some of his own fighters several times.
Correct.
About their own worth. And this is their promoter. Just compare what he's doing to what Eddie is doing. He's trying to sell his fighters, where Bob is he's not into this whole social media.
I feel like there was that time period where no one really talked about it, and I feel like boxing is back on the rise again, and I think that the women fighters are kind of the forefront of that. You have Shields, you have Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, you have Jessica McCaskill as well. That's actually someone that I think Katie Taylor should fight next. I think that would be a great rematch.
I've been doing all of the talking for AJ. AJ, when are you going to step in the ring with another number one? Let's get an undisputed champion. The pressure is on Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury.
How do you think they're promoting this, man? Have you heard anybody? Aren't you in the Big Apple? There's plenty of people that can talk to you about it, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not. Especially not during these COVID times. I'm gonna be watching the fight, right? I'm not gonna say my means of how I'm gonna watch.
Well, and there's nothing else on, and you might not be aware that there's a Canelo fight. I could see you possibly tuning into the Durrell fight. But I mean, we don't really know where Durrell's going to go after this. I could see him possibly doing something interesting after, maybe kind of being like a step up for somebody else. But his career is kind of on the downside. If you want something that's up and coming and modern and people who are continually achieving dominance in their division, the only thing you could do is watch the Canelo fight this week.
He's overrated and gets credit for things that he really didn't do. I'm sorry.
He's just a very good actor. That's all.
He was a movie star. It's a facade. He was a martial artist. Yes, they try to reprimand him for teaching, martial arts.
Canelo.
No. It's like Mayweather Castillo 1 is what it's going to look like.
Well, hey, look, I'm glad we're on the panel because I've said this on my channel. And I'm glad it's publicly over here. Just like I said, a few fights that I've picked that people laughed at me and said you're crazy, and they came out to be like that. Styles made fights, and this dude has got it.
No, I was just gonna say I was surprised Joe hasn't mentioned the fact that it really needs Teddy Atlas and Ken Rideout to get behind the fight. I mean,
oh yeah.
It seems to me like Canelo Promotions is going to fill in now. Now you got a younger cat called Saul Canelo Alvarez, who has a team behind him, has a coach, a trainer, Reynoso. He's mentoring fighters right now. He's involved in the sport. He lives in the gym. He breathes boxing. That's what Canelo lives and breathes in. You breathe in cocaine, all right? You drink alcohol, he drinks boxing. That's what he's doing, right?
Right, I don't believe that. But I say no, if it was Terrence Crawford, if it was Canelo Alvarez, let's just change the name. Canelo Alvarez pulls out of the Caleb Plant fight 2 weeks or 11 days before the fight. Doctors discovered he had a detached retina. Boy, the Canelo haters, you know what they're going to say. Oh, Cinnamon is ducking. I told you he was a coward. A, B, C, D.
I always,
Raw, I give you permission to shoot me if I ever get to that.
Hey, I always wondered why guys like Dr. Phil that have all this money would never fill in that big bald spot, but now I know why. The shit doesn't look good.
That's a perfectly good sized ring. I just saw it. That's not small. They're fighting in there. They're not running around.
That's small.
Track, bro.
That's a
what do you want to have so much room for?
That looks like a local gym.
Why do you need so much room? Why do you need so much room to fight? For what?
20 feet. 20 feet's good. I just said 20 feet's good.
Match in there. It was a perfectly good sized ring from what I saw.
Okay.
What are you trying to prove? What that says?
Let's go, pom-poms.
What do you need? Like a whole football field to fight or what? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, for me, because I'm a boxing fan, I cannot wait for this fight. And I know about it. I think that with what is going on right now, with all there's so much going on with all the fight that's coming up, and then all of a sudden this Mayweather pub, and so Top Rank is just like kind of like slithering under, like, I don't know. It's crazy. I think we will hear more about it after this Canelo fight. I'm hoping that Top Rank step up and like just flood with advertising. As far as my opinion on this, I can't fucking wait for this fight. That is gonna be I can't wait. I'm thrilled.
It's dangerous, you know.
I just started talking. I just need 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Let him finish me. Go ahead.
Uninterrupted. 30 seconds uninterrupted. You got that. That does not mean that Mexicans in Mexico don't support boxing like hell. Here's why. Canelo may not make the money that he may not make, that he might want to make in Mexico. Fine, cool. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mexicans going to fights in Mexico from the most irrelevant fight to the point that if tomorrow Canelo fought in Las Chivas Rayadas de Guadalajara Stadium, the stadium will be completely packed. Canelo fought in Las Chivas Rayadas de Guadalajara Stadium, the stadium will be completely packed. Whether he makes the money or not, that's not even my argument. I'm talking about butts in the seat.
Pay your rent. You can't go to the bank and say, "Hey, I'm paying the rent with my heart today. I'm paying the rent with my passion today. I'm paying the rent with my desire today." You can't.
And they also take knees when they fight.
You gotta go like this.
Let me just say this.
They want to see this, and if it's like nothing in
No. Let me just get to the bottom of this shit right now, okay?
Go for it.
When they have Corona in the corner of those turnbuckles, who are they pandering to? Mexicans!
No, they're
got that. No, I'm gonna finish. You're gonna let me talk. They got that. Well, what do you got? That's
That's Mexicans, dude. They don't got no British beers up there. I see Tecate, I see Corona, I see Modelo, and freaking in the UK. That's
not UK. You're anti-UK. I see you.
You were
burning a Union Jack. You were burning a Union Jack in your backyard last week. You were burning a Union Jack in your backyard last week. I caught you.
Let me tell you something. Why does Canelo get paid the most? What's his core fan base be? What's his core fan base?
Honestly, you're not gonna like the answer.
Get the highest
You're not gonna like the answer.
Come on.
You're not gonna like the answer. He crossed over. The Americans love him.
Hear a lot of people thinking that Usyk has no shot. Blah 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 blah. Listen, Usyk is as big as Muhammad Ali was. Okay, Usyk's as big as Larry Holmes was. You know, he's 6'3". He's solid. You know, if anything, the thing that he might have going against him is inexperience. You know, and that he didn't pursue a career at heavyweight. You know, there's going to be a certain time to build into that weight class, but I don't think size is the problem in this fight. He's a big man. He's a big, strong man.